Welcome to CivilNet. My guests today are Professor Alan Flowers and Hovsep Patvakanyan. And these two gentlemen are part of the European Youth Parliament. Dr. Flowers is a member of the governing body, and Hovsep Patvakanyan is one of the individuals engaged in bringing that organization to Armenia. Gentlemen, welcome. Pari Luis, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
Please. Thank you for doing what you're doing. This is a voluntary body across Europe. 40, how many countries are members?
Well, we have 36 full members, and at present we're dealing with 4 countries which we call initiatives who are working towards becoming full members. So we hope.
And Armenia is one of these initiatives.
Yeah.
There are so many complicated issues associated with parliaments, with youth, and with Europe, and you've put those 3 together. And you are trying, I assume, to create both political consciousness and also networking and teaching amongst the youth from all these countries. Give us examples of what happens through the EYP, and then you can tell us about why and what and when.
Absolutely, all these things together. We have 3 main 10-day gatherings of youth coming from these 40 countries across Europe, coming together, various major locations where you can bring together, it's small numbers from each country, but that's the starting point. These are events organized by youth, for youth, but facilitated and helped by adults like myself, and very important assistance and sponsorship.
What does Parliament mean in that formula?
And in the Parliament context, we are providing education in the methodology of the European Parliament. This is a methodology of collective decision making. So it's not just about maybe 10 Armenians coming together around a table making decisions about what they think best for their future, but let's picture groups with 10, 15, each from a different country. It brings a Russian student together with a Spanish student, a Norwegian student together with an Armenian student, British
with what
together,
goal?
All together, with a goal of understanding how you can work to shared collective decision making. People from different cultural backgrounds, different interests, dealing with conflict situations, varied perspectives, varied objectives, but realizing in a shared continental Europe, there has to be some areas for common agreement.
You know, in our part of the world, we don't do collective decision making real well. And I would imagine that of the 36 or 47 countries involved, all of the different political experiences, the different levels of political consciousness must make for fun meetings.
They do, very difficult meetings. We will be giving 1 day, 2, 3 days sometimes together. This is typically 10 to 15 youths coming around a table. They go into a room and they have one shared clear objective, to come out with a common agreed understanding, and they learn some of the first acts of diplomacy, give and take. No individual will necessarily most times get 100%, and actually learning that if you give 20%, you might end up with 80%, and that's better than 0. That's about democracy and the process. So it can work, it does work, and at the end of every one of these events, these youth will come out of a room with agreed written statements, which they will then present to open fora for debate. So we've talked about the shared.
Who determines the agenda of the topics that are going to be discussed?
They used to declare the agenda.
And this is
it's
items
the groups
from
who
global...
decide, those who are organizing, mainly focused on European issues. We have a big focus on European, regional. For example, there are really major issues to resolve in this region. This is putting interested, motivated young people with a serious concern for their future together around tables to really think hard about what steps can we take to move forward. And European politicians value this. Politicians are busy people. They don't often have the thinking time of young people. Imagine the value of these kinds of think tanks.
Groundwork
and not
being
only
done.
that,
Sure.
the ideas get tested, because they get tested against an open forum debate of groups that at a meeting, we might have 5, 6, like in Tallinn at this very moment on 3rd of August, we're just about to move to 15 committees over 220 youth from all across Europe, will be going into 2 days of debate session to debate the results of these individual committees. So you have your group come up with some conclusions. You might then be pitting this against 14 others who will look at your conclusions and really analyze them. And then finally, the most important thing is the voting process. The whole assembly that is present at the event will vote on the proposals that each committee group have produced.
Biggest focus group that any politician could want. Hovsep, you're a mathematician economist. Dr. Flowers, you're a physicist.
Yes.
And you're doing this because you understand that this process of democratic learning is what we're going to need in countries like ours. Hovsep, how do you think Armenia is going to participate? How do you select the participants? And what do you think we're going to get out of this?
I think that today, Armenian youth is EU-oriented youth. And what we see is that this is the youth that is ready to tackle the European issues, to tackle the issues that we've got in Armenia, and do it at the same time in both contexts. I see the team and I see how they can get involved. They are already involved. They are proposing projects. They are proposing different programs that they want to implement. And I see that this is feasible and it will be implemented very soon.
And how are they selected?
It's not some selection criteria, but basically every youngster who is from 16 till 22, 20, he is eligible or she is eligible to participate and to make his or her contribution into the topic, into the discussion.
I can maybe help out a little bit with this. Again, it's the youth group. It's really important who we have as the organising group of these events and who we have as the national committee. So one of my roles is to ensure that we have a non-partisan, balanced group of youths that are formed in the national committee. And these groups are formed democratically from those youths initially that have shown an interest. So it's very important the initial interest group comes from a broad set of perspectives. Of course, there can be issues like in any groups about balance of interests and opinion, but in the end, it's remarkable how it works out. If you are able to give open publicity, and this is where this website is so important, to reach out to all of the youth of Armenia, everyone aged 16 to 20 who speaks competent English language. That's very important because the English is how these committees work. We talked earlier about Spanish students talking to Russian students. They talk in English. The Norwegian students talk to the Armenians in English. That's our language of shared decision making in Europe.
It's also the language
so
of politics. It's also the context from which they'll be learning.
And if these youths come forward and show they are interested, motivated, normally there is some initial writing by essay, perhaps some brief interview to ask why do you want to come forward. And the only criteria are that people are willing to give their time and understand that it is about discussion and debate and about taking an interest in the future of their country.
Which is what the art of politics should lead us to. What have been your experiences about members, participants from various countries taking their EYP, European Youth Parliament experience, and then bringing it back to their countries?
Well, this happens all the time. This organisation, European Youth Parliament, is celebrating 25 years of existence. The first youths already are in the European Parliament. Many of them are now prominent in public administration, business, finance. They do take these shared decision-making values, these principles, back into their organisations. Because the basic principle, and the reason I sincerely believe in giving my private time to this, is that I fundamentally believe that many minds on a question are always better than only one. And when a youth understands that sharing their ideas and learning that sometimes they may not have all the facts, all the information, and when the facts change, that you can change your mind, that's a great lesson to take back into any business, any public relations work, any public organizations work, and certainly if you're going to be a future politician. And we are seeing across Europe many countries with youth parliaments, And many youth moving from this educational, we're an educational NGO, we're not an elected group, we're youth who want to come forward to learn the principles, learn how European Parliament operates, learn about collective decision making, shared democratic decision making, and then take that forward into their later life. And they do and are making a very important impact in the new democracies, particularly of the Eastern Partnership with Europe. And these are very important target countries.
Hovsep, do you think this is something that's easy to do, doable in a post-Soviet society like ours, where sharing ideas, the give and take, is not something that our experience teaches us?
I think that we're more than ready for this. And I see it. I see it in every single member of the team. I see that they're ready to work. I see that they are ready to make the change in this society, because the society needs the change. And that's what we're going to do. And in addition, I would like to mention that we're going to have these 2 meetings on August 4th and on August 6th. I'll tell you the time,
here in Yerevan.
Times, and you're more than welcome to join and to see the team itself and to see how motivated and enthusiastic young people they are.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for what you're doing, and we can only hope it's contagious.
Thank you very much indeed. And we look forward to meeting the youth of Armenia here in Yerevan in the next days.
Thank you. My guests have been Dr. Alan Flowers and Hovsep Patvakanyan of the European Youth Parliament, which is now in Armenia as well, the Armenian Initiative, and will give opportunity to young people to network, to learn democratic and political and negotiating and other skills that are necessary for a developing society. Thank you for watching CivilNet. Thank you for being our guests.